We're all pretty aware of the condition of the painted surfaces on our car. If they get scratched or door dings, and take it to a detailer to get it buffed out, or if there's a bad enough scratch, get it repainted. One thing we think about a little less is the glass on our vehicle. That can get scratched and sandblasted over time. Of course, we can replace it, but I'm going to show you another way to bring life back into it without having it replaced. Ah, the humanity! I just scratched my windshield on purpose with an aluminum credit card. Hopefully I can get this out. It's hard to see the scratch, but if we put some white paper behind it, that can help us better assess the condition. You can see we've got some scratching on our windshield, and it looks like that card left some aluminum behind. Now hopefully we can get Oh, this is painful. This car has 3,000 miles on it. But if I learned anything from Ron Popeil and the infomercials I watched as a kid, we gotta do the stunt. Hopefully now we can get the scratches out of it. First thing we're gonna do is wash it. Pretty obvious. So we're actually gonna remove the scratches or make them less, remove that aluminum that's stuck on, and kind of polish out those scratches with a buffer. This is not a random orbit buffer that you'd put wax on your car with. This is a heavy duty buffer made to use with rubbing compound. So this is a abrasive paste, really, that you use. Takes off material and smooth things out. I'm gonna go with a medium cut. That's basically how aggressive, similar to coarseness on sandpaper. So not that you're gonna do this yourself. Don't go out and buy a buffer necessarily, and rubbing compound. You can do a lot of damage if you're not used to using this equipment, especially on paint, less so on glass. But this is a sandpaper-like substance in a paste. If you go over the edge and onto your paint, you can do some damage and go through it actually. So I'm gonna tape off the edges just to make sure I don't go there. I'm not gonna try to get that close. But even though you're not gonna do it yourself, you'll be aware of the process and the fact that you can go to a detailer and they can do the same thing here and bring some life back into your glass. Let's see if we can get these scratches out. You can see that was a pretty quick tape job. It's not like I'm taping a paint line or anything. And I went onto the glass, so I'm gonna miss a little bit of the glass. So if you've got kind of a sandblasting and wear of the entire windshield, you're gonna want to do all of it, not just a couple scratches. But I'd recommend taping onto the glass a little bit. I mean, you're gonna miss a little bit of the glass, but it's worth protecting your paint edge there. Now this process is just like buffing paint. If you've got some severe damage, you're gonna wanna start with the coarsest rubbing compound and do stages to lighter. So this only goes in a circular direction. It's gonna create swirl pattern with the coarse rubbing compound. Then you go to lighter compounds to remove those scratches and onward. If you do have severe sandblasting, you probably wanna just replace the glass. But if you have a unique vehicle, older vehicle that you can no longer get glass for, or it's expensive, hard to put in, you can actually wet sand your glass just like your painted surfaces with 1500 1000 grit sandpaper with water behind it. Take a cut on that and then do this polishing. Of course, we're not going to do that on this particular case, but we're going to start right in the middle with medium. That should be enough to fix us up in this case, but let's see how it goes. We've done our first pass here. The next step, wipe off that rubbing compound basically wash the window again. And we'll get an assessment of where we're at. Well, it's looking much better. We've removed, I don't see any scratches anymore, and we removed most of the aluminum, but there's a little spot here, a couple of little spots of aluminum that's still stuck to the window. So we'll take another cut at this. If it doesn't come off, we might have to get a little bit more aggressive and then come back to this medium grit. All right, the good news is we were able to get all of the aluminum off and all the scratches out. Things are looking pretty good. Now, a word of caution here. This is not a how-to buff video. You can be much more aggressive on glass and it's much more forgiving. If I was that aggressive on paint, I would wear through and you'd see primer, and that's a bad day. Glass is pretty forgiving. Obviously, there's no layer to wear through. So it's a good place to start if you're trying to learn, but then again, you might pick up some bad habits that you'd carry on to paint. So I don't know if that's a great idea either. I ended up doing the whole windshield just to blend things in, make sure there wasn't a different looking spot. So after you're done, obviously you want to remove your tape. The longer you leave it on, the harder it is to get off. The other thing is, if you're like me and not extremely careful, you put on a little bit too much rubbing compound, it kind of slings around on the windshield wipers and other stuff. You're gonna wanna rinse that stuff off as soon as possible. Give your car a wash. Otherwise that will dry on and be hard to get off, that rubbing compound. So let's do that. If you're interested how I added a hose reel to my garage, go to my Upgrade Your Garage series and I'll walk you through it step by step. There we have it, a windshield that looks like new. It was new until you messed it up. If you found any value in this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the thumbs up button for this video. Thanks for watching. Adios.